Here's what the News Nation is following right now. Launch imminent. The first window for North Korea to launch its rocket has passed with no liftoff, but the North says it could go up anytime. Clearing the air, Republican Congressman Allen West's campaign. Well, they released a video they say tells the real story behind his now infamous communist comments. And repealing the death penalty. Connecticut bans the punishment, but what will happen to the men found guilty in one of the state's most horrific crimes? And we begin this half hour with the breaking news in the Trayvon Martin case. George Zimmerman, the man who says he shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense, made his first court appearance within the last hour. The judge set a May 29th arraignment date. And just moments ago, Zimmerman's attorney explained why he's delaying a request to get his client possibly released on bond.
We had actually made a decision before today, a couple hours ago, that I was not going to even seek to have the judge attend to that issue. It just didn't make sense with where the case is now, with my client's status, and quite honestly, with the attempt to truly calm this case down rather than demand a presentation of evidence which might only increase the fervor around the case.
And let's bring in Joanne Reed, managing editor of Grio.com, also an MSNBC contributor. Joanne, the attorney, Mark O'Mara, also followed up by saying he didn't want to piecemeal this case. He doesn't want information and evidence being sent out to the public and the media here. He wants to try to get some control.
Yeah, well, I think, Tamara, you're seeing Mark O'Mara try to rein this back in. So much of this case has been adjudicated really in the public square, online, and I think what he's trying to do is bring the temperature down, bring things back into control. But as we know, a lot of these witnesses have already spoken, the ear witnesses to the crime. They've already, been on television. You've had a lot of this information already out there. So I'm not sure what out there is left, but he wants to sort of conceal whatever they can at this point.
I want to play what a couple of pastors who are from that area had to say regarding the urge, like the Reverend Al Sharpton did yesterday, when we heard Reverend Al say no high-fiving and all of this. This is a reflection period, and we want to see justice for this family as they seek it. Let me play what these pastors in the area had to say, Joanne.
I believe that there will be probably a few that will respond negatively no matter what is presented. But for the most part, I believe they'll be very much in support.
There's no way you can please everybody at the same time. But all of us should be about right and righteousness.
Joanne, what are you hearing from some of the people in Sanford who are now concerned that forever their town is associated with this case?
Yeah, absolutely, Tamara. That is a very important point that you're making. I mean, on the side of African Americans that I spoke with yesterday, the phrase was cautious optimism. They're willing to let the legal process play out. They're very gratified that Angela Corey has gone ahead and proffered charges in this case. They feel like that brings some measure of justice for the family. When you talk with white Sanford residents, the impression that I got really is just a sort of sorrow that their town has now been kind of tagged with this case and that it is going to be seen as emblematic of what Sanford is like. And they push back on that and say, listen, we're a nice town. It's actually a very quiet town. It's a small town where people tend to know each other. So I think that there is a concern among Sanford residents proper that their town is going to now be associated only with the Trayvon Martin case and not with the other attributes. But I can tell you, across the board, I think people were relieved, really, by what's happened in the last 24 hours, that this case will now move into the criminal justice system, and they hope off of the sort of online debate and conversation.
All right, Joanne Reed live for us on the ground in Florida for another day. Thank you very much, Joanne.